Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So in tonight's episode of Should You Summon, we're going to go over the various new banners that come with the completely new update that is in the App Store version 2.11.7100. Now if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So again, make sure you do update it in the App Store or Play Store. I assume that this is going to be the build that they're going to be using for the Apocrypha, and so this is just kind of a setup or preview, depending on how you look at it, of the upcoming content. Now, there are quite a few Fateful banners, and unfortunately, I just did a quick scroll down and no free banners, and so unfortunately this episode is probably more for light spenders or maybe people who haven't decided whether or not they want to spend their first real money purchases on the game. And so hopefully this video will help you decide if you want to spend some money, or if you're a light spender or even a heavy spender, my opinions on how best to utilize those funds. So let's get right into it. So 4 banners total. So we'll go with the 2 Twins Destinies. As per the update, Twin Destinies are only one shot each, so you can only do one of each. And the reason why is it's extremely powerful. For one time only, using 1,000 stones or your Heavens ticket from the subscription, you get 2 5-stars. Again, 2 5-stars instead of 1 5-star, and that's not including any 5-stars you might hit along the ways on pulls 1 to 8. Also note that you can get 4.5s, which are upgradable to 5 stars or their altars and so on and so forth, if you're fortunate enough to pull those. Now, note that in this case, the units that are upgraded is every unit in terms of AS or ES, so another style or extra style. So if you look at the odds, on the 9th and 10th pulls, it looks like 1.81% on average. And so if you just do some quick math, it's somewhere in the 1 in 50-ish. I mean, low 50. I can give you an exact number, but I mean, you get the idea. So all the AS and ES up to date are here. Note that it is not upgraded for the regular versions, and so also not upgraded for the altar versions. You can see the 5 there. Keep in mind that the newest AS and ES are here. For example, you got the Otoha AS, you've got Lucifer, which is the ES Suzette, aka my waifu, and we do, of course, have AS Miyu, but more on that later. Keep in mind that these are still relatively, up-to-date units. However, they aren't the newest units in the game, including ES Miyu. She has not dropped yet. And so for this particular banner, being that it's all AS and ES, if you are missing a bunch of them and you want to kind of bolster your account with 2 guaranteed 5-stars, of which they are AS and ES, it's not a bad value at all. I mean, on average, even getting any 2 5-stars in any paid pull is not bad. They are random. However, some of the AS and ES are very powerful or could be side graded to other powerful units. For example, ES Suzette, which is featured on the top left there, has her normal style with True Manifest, which is extremely powerful. She does have the AS, which has been power crept somewhat, but still somewhat usable depending on what your uses are. Of course, AS Severe, who is in the lower middle. Not sure if he's still great at this point. He wasn't really relevant at the even when he first came out. I mean, I know he's a water zone setter, and I know he can be used for some high DPS. However, I don't think the meta required him. AS Mystere, I know a lot of you have seen her in action, quite powerful as our second singer. AS Philo, AS Milsha is our newest singer, and I know a lot of you are going for that one. So overall, if you're missing quite a few AS and ES, or your account's relatively new, that is, less than a year, for example, you're probably missing a lot of them, in which case, why not, as long as you're willing to pay the paid stones. Now, downsides, any veteran account, any account that's been playing for a long time, people like myself, for example, probably very little or no value at this point, unless you really want to summon for light or shadow, in which case, really up to you. Okay, so that's all I'll say about this one. Now, the Twin Destinies Encounter Origins Edition, I'm really interested to see what units are featured here. Keep in mind that the picture only shows 7 of them, 5 altars, and on the far left you have Flamelopus, and on the far right we have Eva. So, okay, disappointing, unfortunately. If you look here, you're only getting 5-star uprated for the other. So all normal style and alter style. So not just the 7. So again, 1.53 each. And so I do have a calculator in front of me. Just give me a second here. Roughly 1 in 65 chance of getting your featured unit, and you get 2 shots of it, of course, being that you get 1 unit in pull number 9 and 1 in pull number 10. So you can see that all ESs and ASs are not featured here. That was the other banner. Otherwise, 1.53 for even all the altars there. And of course, the normal 4s, like the shields of the world, will not have any chance of getting any 5 stars on pulls 9 to 10. Initially, if it was only these 7 units, I would say this is a 10 out of 10 banner. You have a high chance of getting, obviously, one of the 7 featured units up front. That would be awesome. Eva and Flam, you've seen everyone using it, including myself. They're extremely powerful, broken scam units that are very relevant in today's meta, and probably relevant in the future as well, as long as the enemy is not null or absorbing. So that being said, again, same thing as the Rebirth Edition in this case then. I would value them around the same. You do get 2 5-stars for sure. If you are missing quite a number of units, or you just want to take a long shot chance at getting, 1 or more units you want, then you can go for it. Keeping in mind that, again, it's 1 in 65 roughly for any particular 1 unit, and obviously you have 2 rolls of the dice that way. You do obviously have chances of pulls 1 to 8 giving you something else. But if you're looking specifically to target these units, unfortunately, we are all disappointed. I actually was really hoping that it was only these 7 units, in which case you're talking 1 in 7 or 2 in 7 and getting these, in which case that would be amazing. So that's unfortunate. Okay, now this one should be a lot more targeted. Note that you can pull this twice, and the only downside, of course, is that it's only 1 5-star instead of 2 5-stars. However, your 10th pull guarantees one of the 4 Thunder featured units, Victor and Ace Victor, ES Melina, as well as Silver Striker. So, just to summarize quickly, if you are missing Victor, there are 2 shots of getting Victor in this pull, and you have the potential of paying twice if you really want to go for it. I mean, Victor and Victor AS specifically are great for building up your combo. Victor AS has the additional benefit of having that end of turn super wind attack, end of AF super wind attack after building up max of 1000 or more multiplier combo meter. So that does a ton of damage. It can do multi-hits, get lots of damage out for you. In case of ES Melina, still a very valid support unit, has obviously buffs, can put debuffs up to 60% type resist debuff on the enemy, increases speed and power. EX moves when you have a full EX bar built, can do a significant amount of damage, so on and so forth. And finally, Silver Striker. Can't say I have too much experience with her since I don't have the normal style of her anyways. I would say that this banner also has the advantage of, we know that Thunder Zones is going to be a thing in about 2 weeks when we get the next major update. And so if you're planning on kind of bolstering or adding to your Thunder units, this is not a bad banner at all. So again, if you really want Victor, this is really the best way to get it. I would say ES Melina is not bad, but most of us probably have one form of Melina, in which case, remember that if you're, even as a light spender, if you're trying to maximize your stones paid or otherwise, if you can side grade, you're better off doing it that way than to use a paid pull to pull for one version of that. And same with Silver Striker. As rare as Opuses or Opie or whatever you want to call it, you're still better off grinding it out. Opuses obviously take a little bit more since you only can get them from red keys, but even so, still, I would estimate, again, loose average, 3 to 6 months, just like most upgrades. I mean, my own personal experience obviously is somewhat biased, but still, I've seen a lot of comments in the subreddit that people have been able to get at least 1 or 2 units side graded in the 3 to 6 month range for altars. So there you have it. Now, finally, this one is very interesting. You get a guaranteed ASMU. This is not ESMU, so again, don't spend money on this banner if you're hoping to get the extra style version that's not released in global yet. The 10th pull guarantees ASMU, and everything else is the standard 0.02, which is like long shots of all the other 5 stars, 4.5s, altars, blah 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 blah. And of course, just like all the other banners, high chance of getting those bots, Rainbow Sisters, and Knights. Now you may be asking, why even bother? And the answer is, honestly, if you're pulling for light, this is one easier way to get to 255 Miyu. And I know that sounds silly, and obviously that's more of a whale strat than obviously a light spender strat. However, hear me out here. There's very few banners that you can actually summon and guarantee a certain unit. And knowing that extra styles give you a different weapon type, in this case, ES Miyu should be a Lance Light unit. If you use the same principles that I illustrated in my you can 255 certain units, extra style units do have the advantage of being able to use two different weapon type light or shadow items to get you closer to 255. And not to mention, you can get 3.5 and 4-star Miyus very commonly in your 10 pulls because they just aren't the same rarity as a typical 4.5. So many of you probably have Miyus in the 60, 80, 90, 100 light. And, you know, if you get a lot of sword light, which we do as free, and lesser lance light, if you happen to want to be a moderate or heavy spender, this is one way to do it. It's not the most optimal way to do things. I mean, you're probably better off using your subscriptions to get extra light items and to put it towards one unit. However, hey, for spenders, it is an option. Now, if you're new to the game, definitely would advise not to spend on this banner. You should be able to pick up 5 Minerva Treatises if you run all your red and green keys over time. And I realized at the beginning of the game, when you don't have all the reward lines unlocked, it probably makes life a little bit harder for you in that you won't be getting it so easily. Not 3 to 6 months, but maybe 6 months or a little bit longer. But by the time you get there, you'll definitely be able to get ASMU. In terms of her power level, certainly not to the extent that it was when she was released over a year ago. However, if you've seen some recent fights, I still was able to use her on a Miglin's Palace team against Sophie, and she still boosts quite a bit. And if you're thinking about AS Radius coming out in the future, that would be something you could kind of play around with. And so, as a support unit, still unparalleled for Miglin's Palace users. I'm also thinking about planning ahead for things like AS Deidre, which obviously is a storyline character. It's a free unit. Annabelle's already come out, but think of it this way. She's an older unit. Who knows if she's going to get ES? And you can use AS Mew to boost those units as well. So let me know in the comments below what you think of the banners, if you're happy, disappointed, if you're going to be pulling. And obviously, for myself, being free to play, as you well know, I won't be participating in this banner. I'll be hoarding up my stones for the future. Now, keep in mind with this new update, hopefully by tomorrow's morning's reset, when we get our logins, it should be 50 instead of 20. And obviously, if you watch a couple of videos, you get the extra 20 and 10 for at least 80 a day, not including the 5 ads. I know a lot of you probably hate ads, but if you're willing to spend a few minutes, and you can always do it while you're watching TV or doing other things on another device, hey, not a bad way to get free keys and stones. Anyways, again, make sure you do some fishing in the next couple of weeks if you still want to do that, the harpooning, before the new update drops. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.